one of these principles is coming from a place of success, a place that you've actually done it. Uh,
Ah,
Welcome back, Alchemist. This is Abundance Thursdays with myself, Gualter Amarelo, and the great Vinney Smile Chopra. Vinney, welcome. And what are you on right now?
oh, I'm on my elliptical, brother. It's 39 degrees. I just saw on my iWatch outside. It's pretty cold, pretty cold in Northern California. So I never miss my beat about exercising every day, 7 days a week. Miracle Morning, it's one of the routines that I do, and I love to do it when we do this show, Abundance Mindset, Health, Body, Soul, everything.
And so, for everybody who's on the East Coast, right now it is 9 a.m. PST, where Vinny is out in California. And so, for those of you who are just tuning in, Vinny and I do this every single week. We address one of the wealth principles. Today, we're going into wealth principle number 10, which is increase your income in increments and surges. And we're going to actually go into one of Vinny's stories of how he actually started before he had anything. So, a lot of people say you need money to get started. Vinny actually came to this country with only $7 to his name and lived with family. So, Vinny, if you could go back to the very beginning, what was the first increment of income you made? And then where were these surges? What was some of these first surges?
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. When I came to United States many years back, my uncle paid for my tuition, everybody. And I was very thankful. I lived with them in Rockville, Maryland for 2.5 years in Indian family culture. You never really pay any debts or anything, and also he never charged. It was like a family. His wife was like my mother, and their three daughters, like my sisters. So I had such a great, bringing up in Washington, D.C. area. But then in my mind, I wanted to not be a burden, and I wanted to earn money so that he does not have to pay for the next semester, at George Washington University. So that's what stemmed into me going to sell books, encyclopedias, and Bibles. And one of my friend, Y.K. Agarwal, I still remember after so many years. And he said, Vinny, I made some money selling books door to door. You want to come along with me? I just took upon it. I said, okay, I'll go. I know my uncle said, are you talking? You're an engineer, mechanical engineer, not a salesperson. He gave me three checks, signed checks. He said, when you're ready to come home, just let me know how much you're writing check for transportation and all. And then after 10 days, being there outside Atlanta, Georgia, I tore off those checks and I called him. I said, Uncle, I've got maybe $3,000 in my bank account. He said, what? See, because we used to get deposits from the families who want to buy books from me. So 30%, 40% was usually the deposit, and the rest upon delivery of the books at the end of the summer. So
Wow.
I would say that's where it all started, where I was able to feed myself, stay we used to have like 4 to 5 students, and this company is big, and they work with MIT students, Stanford, George Washington, Georgetown, American University back there. I remember all over big, big, and about 4 to 5 thousand students work during the summer to earn money for tuition.
Wow.
I mean, it's beautiful. So my cash flow started there, but then it converted me into salesperson, and after 3 summers, I was able to buy my first car for $700, old car, Maverick, blue Maverick, two-door. And my wife tells me she bought brand new in Canada, Maverick also, four-door, white color. It's so interesting the stories we tell to each other. But then, we moved to Ohio because I had to get a professional job after I graduated MBA in marketing. So the same company absorbed me in their thing, and their attorneys started trying to get me permanent visa and all that stuff. That's how. But then I was hired $10,000 straight commission. $10,000 straight commission with that company full time. So the times were different. But I remember when I got married 44 years back, it will be 44 this year, happily married. And
Congratulations.
my wife never asked me how much I made. Maybe if she knew then, we wouldn't be married.
So for everybody who's listening, Vinney Chopra has come a long way in the last 44 years since his wife was like, oh my God, like not knowing what you're making. So now you have $1.6 billion. You peaked at $1.6 billion of real estate that you were managing, that you raised $300 million of funds from family and investors. Over 500 investors, it's more than that now, who
Yes,
trust you with their investments, and they look to
yes,
you as the
yes.
resource for where to go and where the market's going. Now, instead of jumping to where you are today, right? Let's go to that first syndication deal. Now, I know you and your wife had done some flips. You've done some small multifamilies.
Yep, yep,
What was
yep.
that first multifamily? It was a two family. I know you talk about it often. What was that
Duplex.
first two family like? How'd you
Yeah.
get from these surges, these increments? How'd you get into multifamily?
Surely, I would say it all started from a rental home in Modesto, California, right here in our backyard. We bought for 65,500, put down 11,000, I think, and it became 310,000 in just few years. This is early on in our life, right? In the 86, I think, 87, 88. And I took out 295,000 loan, and then we went out to Arizona, to Texas, to Georgia, bought more single family homes. But then the light bulb really came on 2004 when I became a broker, real estate broker. I was doing motivational speaking at the same time, but my side gig was, real estate, because all our friends talked about real estate. I said, I want to get better at it. I want to get better at it. And then I looked into, okay, I'm a broker. I don't want to sell or buy. We were going to open a company, actually, my wife and I, but then we just let it go. Everything was ready. We were ready to sign a lease for a building to have our office. Then I told Kanchan, my wife, let's not do it. We threw away, I don't know, 10,000, 15,000. We said, we're going to scale up big in commercial business. So that's when the whole journey started. And then I started learning from my, mentor, David Lindahl, who is a great, great guy from Boston. And he taught, and his people taught me and my partner how to underwrite, what to look for. And Odessa, Texas, where we own our duplex right now, it's, I think we paid 93,000 purchase price. And I remember the banker knew me by that time a little bit, because we were talking to him about commercial loan. Saturday morning, I called him on his cell phone, local bank there, right? I said, hey, I'm buying this. Would you give me a loan on Monday morning? He says, yes, I will.
Wow,
Those
so
stories come alive, when you start thinking.
we've come quite a bit here, from the point where you're selling books. You get your first $3,000, couple of weeks, your first $3,000 a month. Then you shift. They gave you a $10,000 a year. Was like what you were making. Your wife didn't know. You somehow convinced her to marry you, and then you start. A few years later, you start investing in real estate. At some point, you brought a mentor in. I remember the story. You paid over $100,000, not just for
Yes,
you to get coached. You were really
yes,
smart. You actually paid for your partner to get coached. So you were both on the
yes.
same mind. It was multiple partners, right? It wasn't just one. Was it two?
Multiple. No, there were five of us, I think, four or five, because it was 25,000 a piece or 20,000 a piece, something like that. Yeah.
So you brought five. There was five of you who took the same course. I'm sure you all split that fee. Was that split between everybody?
No, we paid for it. My
You paid for
partner,
that.
GP, and I paid for the whole thing. And we didn't have the money. Our family didn't want us to put money. This is 2006 or 7, somewhere there. And we just said, okay, we'll borrow the money. So we borrowed, $100,000. I remember, from a very good person, and he was also involved in our trainings and everything. He says, "Hey, I believe in you," and so forth. And one time we had almost 390,000 loans. I remember in my previous company, and we paid it all off in 3 years. But that money, the seed money, got us, so much experience, so much self, what's the word? Confidence in
Self-confidence.
purchasing. Yeah, in purchasing, underwriting, and not, stepping on the mines, I call it. Because if you step on one mine, you can blow it up. I mean, you're done, totally
You
done.
you just said something that I heard in the mastermind last week. So you run your mastermind, you have your mentorship, and we run our mastermind. And in it,
Mhm.
a person multiple times I was asking, hey, what has stopped you in the past? What do you need to buy real estate this year? What is it you
Yeah.
need? And self-confidence, or it was not self-confidence, it was confidence. It was
Yes.
understanding, right? No, like knowing. And one of them was a lack of experience. They didn't have a lack of experience. And I told them, I was like, look, the only way to get experience is you got to go do something. So we're going to have to just
Totally.
get it. But that
Totally.
confidence came from having a course. And would you say that having the partners with you helped? Because you
Oh,
didn't do this
yeah.
alone. Like you brought other people in.
Totally, totally. I would say commercial investing, single family, you can make a decision, husband, wife, significant other. It's a small deal. But when you're talking about 10 units, 20 units, 30 units, 100 units, and now 7,500 units or whatever, the thing is, you want to be comfortable with the numbers, with the underwriting, we call it, and the area where you're buying because you're collecting money from your investor friends. You want to make sure, doubly sure, that you have fiduciary responsibility towards their, capital. And then also the growth of the capital. What they gave you money, then you need to put a good, solid business plan together and everything. So you're right. By having a coach every week, it helped us so much accountability, making sure, and we were paying good money. I think it was at that time, my gosh, 2007, 8, 9, I think it was $500 an hour, I think, if I'm not mistaken, at that time. But that was the best money ever we spent. And it was not an expense, it was an investment, which taught us the real deals, how to look at deals, how to talk to brokers, how to analyze. And he was able to ask us so many pertinent questions and give us the templates to work on. See, that's the beauty of it. If you get a good mentor or a coach, just like in my academy, I open up as an open book, totally open book. All the students, whatever they want, I have it because I've done it for 16 years.
Actually, Vinny, you're gonna like how we're using your academy right now. So we have it.
Yeah.
Everybody who jumped into the mastermind gets access to the academy, and they're coming through. And like what we're actually doing is our mastermind's a full year. So what we're doing is we're saying everybody who is in it, there's 14 modules, but you have to get through the first two modules because the first two modules are
Yes.
mindset, they're firm foundation. You have to get through those in month one, and
Yeah.
later on we're gonna combine one of the other modules, but it's like every month you get the whole module and it's like let's just run through it. And that
Love it.
yesterday it's every Monday, and on Monday one of the guys who's brand new, he said, well, can I watch all the videos? Can I go through the whole thing before everybody? I was like, yeah, bro, go through the whole thing, go through it
Yeah.
all.
Totally, totally.
So
It can really set your mind up what's
yeah,
included in that. I
yeah.
put my hard-earned experience and everything with attachments and everything so that our students, investors can really get into a rhythm so that they can be successful, very quickly. Yeah, yeah.
You'll like this because we're doing a deal. We're doing 128 units in Mississippi, and we're using your
Yeah.
calculator. We have a lot of different calculators we used over the years, but I gave it to Mitch Shorsky, the scaredy cat guide, right? And
Yes.
he looked at it and he was like, he was overwhelmed at first. He was like, "Oh man, this is a lot." I was like, "Don't worry about it. Just use these three tabs. These are the ones we're going to work with." And
Yes.
now we're using that one all the time, and
Ah.
it's a lot easier because like stuff you've thought of is like there already, so we can just later on when we need it, it's all sitting there.
Ah.
And I did what you said, saved as this property, saved
Totally.
as this property. So now it's just
Totally.
spreadsheets. So, but anyway, I digress. I want to get back to the rest of where you are today, right? So the first part of this was your first increments were that $3,000 from sales. You were selling, selling, selling. And then later on, huge, like this is a surge, right? Bring like refinancing $290,000 changed the game for you. That came
Changed the game for
four
me. Yeah.
years after starting investing, right? So like you bought the property, it was like 3 or 4 years later, the thing went up in tremendous value. And now then you went out and just went buck wild. You bought everything. Um, from that point, where are you now today? Like, what is a deal that you just brought full circle? Maybe one of the hotel deals. What was something you brought
Yes,
full circle? You
yes.
bought it and then sold it.
I love it. I love it. I know I've been in multifamily, senior assisted living, and hospitality, as some of you know. So essentially, the hotel one you're talking about is the Hilton Garden Inn in McAllen, Texas, out of anywhere. We bought it, my partners and I, we bought it in auction from BlackRock Group. What? From such a big group. They have so many properties. Somehow this was not being handled right or whatever. We
Vinny,
found a whim for
you're grave dancing over BlackRock. That is just amazing. I love it.
with the grace of God, we paid cash, my partners and I, $6 million. We bought it, 114 keys. I think it's 104 or 14 keys. But the best thing is, you're not going to believe it. Best is, well, it became worse, then it got better. We bought it on December 31st, 2019. And guess what happened? In 2020, COVID comes 3, 4 months later, and our occupancy goes from 87% to 22%. Holy moly. I said, oh no, what did we get? What did we get? But we are very big managers of the managing company because we don't have any, we had very little experience in managing hotels. So
Right.
the lender, we were going to get, it's a SBA loan actually, they need to have a certified Hilton operating or managing member in that so that they can make sure that we don't bring it to the ground, and all that. So what happened was we went out to the doctors and hospitals over there in McAllen, and we presented. Our leasing people were so animated, so excited that we gave them that idea. Then they chose our hotel to live in. No other tourists. And they were just the nurses and doctors, and they'll come from hospital, come to our hotel whole week, then maybe go home over the weekend or whatever. But our occupancy went way up.
Wow. Hold on. Okay. So
20,
you
21.
you in the middle of COVID bought a hotel. Right at the beginning, bought a hotel. Occupancy went from 80% to 20%. Nope, you're not making any money anymore. And you came up with this plan to go mid-term rental, not short-term rentals, but like mid-term rentals where people are now living in the hotel like an apartment.
Yes,
That is insane. So many hotels got destroyed during COVID. You actually found a way to bring back the cash flow. And
yes.
that came from self-managing and building relationships with people who had nurses and doctors who would be traveling. Wow.
Totally, totally, totally.
Okay.
And our NOI doubled. Oh my God. So this is 2021, 22. We sold it. In 2022, literally after 2 years or so, we sold it at $12 million.
You bought it for 6, sold it for 12. You went through COVID. You went all the way through COVID. You cash flowed all the way through COVID. And then you sold it for a $6 million profit for you and your investors. What did you do with that profit? Did you pay
Oh,
everybody out or did you roll into another?
no, 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 no. That's a pretty hefty tax bill, So we always like to do two strategies. One is 1031 to take your profit and buy something bigger, just like it is. So we took that same thing from the $6 million profit. We took 5,335,000, bought a Wyndham Garden, 167 keys, I think, and cash the rest out to our partners. So 1 million something we distributed, and then the rest now we own. with the profits, this Wyndham Garden Hotel.
So you paid out your investors. You did a partial 1031 exchange. You paid out your investors. You rolled the rest of the money with just you, and that
And the
is how real
partners,
estate is
yeah,
done.
my GPs.
Your
So we
GP
have
stayed in
no
the game,
investors in it, no
right?
investors in it.
Wow. The LPs
Isn't
win because they're getting their money back, and
that?
they've grown the whole time, and the GPs win because now they own assets without the work of the LPs underneath.
Sure. Actually, yeah, no, that's so true, so true. The good part is, hospitality has come back. This is 2024.
Yeah.
And the ADRs, average daily rates, around the tourist spots have skyrocketed 200%, 300%. Occupancies have gone from 55% to 75 to 85%. So, my fourth book, I've already started to write, is Investing Made Easy in Hospitality.
Oh, I love it.
Hospitality, investing made easy for our, if you want to buy, build, or you want to just, cash flow and look at how to underwrite all those things. So that's really very exciting. Yeah.
Very cool,
And
brother. This
and
has
can I
been
say something,
yeah,
if I may? Sorry to interrupt.
yeah.
Uh, uh, all it stems from my knowledge of multifamily. See, because multifamily is what it's all about, really. Look at that. Multifamily. That's what it is about. Because it's the units in my apartments, residents pay like monthly, come to the office or pay online. Then hotels is very similar because it's multifamily, 100 keys, 100 units, and every night, or I like extended stays better because then the resident is there for 5 days, 7 days, or 15 days, like that, less maintenance and so forth. But the good part is they pay before even they go to the room and stay. So it's zero delinquency, well, concessions can be up and down. If the demand is very high, these different programs change the rates, as five different rates for the same room, all that, right? So
Right.
it's a extension of multifamily. Senior assisted living, also it's an extension of multifamily.
It seems like you at the summit we actually talked about this. There's five skills that you absolutely need to be successful. The first is your burning desire. You need to know how to
Yes.
motivate yourself. You need that. You need to be
Yeah.
able to communicate clearly to other people. So communication. You need a network,
Yes.
which you used for leveraging people's money, finding deals.
Totally.
The fourth one is business acumen. You need to know efficiency,
Yeah.
effectiveness, and that fifth one is multifamily. If you understand multifamily, you can create financial freedom for yourself. So this principle, number 10, increase your income in increments and surges. It's for everybody who's listening, it's really to say that it doesn't matter where you are today, you do have to start small and start
Yes.
with something you'll do and eventually work in things that can create surges, like real estate. Real estate creates surges. Vinny, we got to jump. If there is one piece of advice you want to give to somebody who's thinking about passive invested in multifamily, which makes sense if you don't want to do all the work, or they're
Totally.
thinking about being the boots on the ground, being the hardworking person who's making sure that things cash flow, what piece of advice would you give somebody right now for 2024?
Oh my gosh. Anybody watching us or you'll watch later on, reach out to vinnychopra.com, invest, and just fill out the form because we just started a beautiful 506C fund, which I can talk about, being a syndicator and a fund manager, which is for accredited investors only. It's strategic income fund. And it's going to be amazing fund because it's a special niche fund to save the day of some operators who need 1, 2, 3, 4, $5 million for a short term, maybe year and a half or two, to rate lock, or the interest rates have gone up, or insurance has gone up. The property is doing really well, but they need that injection of money and not want to do cash calls and things like that. So, but the key thing is 2024, 25 will be amazing years if you're in the arena. You cannot be a spectator. You got to get in wherever you live. Go for, find some deals. There are lots of deals, people retiring, divorces, you name it, all kind of things can happen, right? And the key thing is go after some out of state owners also, because they have sometimes more headaches than other people in state. So this is the time to get into real estate and multifamily. Don't deviate. See, I was asked to get into this and that and this and that, but Vinny just says, okay, let me just get better at one place. And that has really served me well. And I hope, and multifamily, everybody's going to need that. Silver tsunami, number one, with people downsizing, 10,000 baby boomers turning 65 every night, they will be selling their homes and coming into senior communities. Immigration, what? I just heard some number, 4 million immigrants. What? That's a lot. And they cannot afford to get single family home. They need to get into rentals. And then, of course, millennials, 71 million people, they're not losing, they're leaving their nest egg of parents. They want to be also portable and work out remotely. All those things, they all go for multifamily. So apartments, multifamily is the game which will stay for till we, eternity.
You heard it here. This is Abundance Thursdays. We do this every 12 p.m. Eastern Standard on Thursdays and 9 a.m. PST on Thursdays. We've got to jump. We're going into the Alchemist Nation Board of Advisors meeting where Vinney Chopra
Yes.
and Brian Kent are our board. So from the bottom of my heart to you, I want you to go out and buy some real estate. Don't buy garbage. Buy something that cash flows, makes sense. And with that being said, cheers to your success. We have a choice. I always work with the best. We'll
See
see
you
you.
next week. See you next week.
Thank you, Vinny. Great job, brother.